So we are here today with Angie, and Angie and I have known each other, geez, I feel like at least 20 years almost or something.
I
When
think
did
a little longer, actually.
longer than that?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, yep, we both started in senior living. Gosh, I started in 2004 and you were right after that, right?
I think 2007,
Yeah,
2007.
yeah.
So
So, yep, and
right
so
at
we've
20 years.
yeah. Our children kind of grew up around each other. We grew up around each other in the work field. We were both in our 20s and now we're in our 40s, and we have gone through lots of trauma together, lots of loss, whether it be loss of people close to us and we just don't talk to them anymore, to losing actual people in our lives that have caused us some sort of trauma and some sort of connection. So I will forever have a bond with Angie, and I'm very excited that she volunteered to share her story. She's going to hit on her beautiful daughter, Hailey, and I'll add a picture to this video so that we can honor her. And I want to welcome Angie. Angie, tell
Thank
us a little
you.
bit about yourself and some of the things that you've gone through.
I guess first and foremost, I'm a mom. I have my daughter Haley, who is in heaven, and I have three younger sons, two little granddaughters, and a new grandson on the way. So very excited about him. Love my little girls. They're just the joy of my life. Been with my partner Roger for I think around 21 years now. And dogs, cats, animal lover, and that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm a stay-at-home gaga these days, thankfully. Love senior living, but needed a break.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so definitely takes a toll on you, especially when you're going through trauma, grief, things to that nature. I think just the whole aspect of it, and it was very hard for me to stay there. I think end of life is a big thing that you a huge thing that you deal with in senior living.
yes.
And so that had become an issue for me after losing my daughter Haley in a car accident in 2016. Of course, Amanda, you know everything, but everybody else
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. So
She had
tell us about Haley and tell us about that story.
she had just turned 18. It was, in fact, she turned 18. She was a senior in high school. She turned 18 January 26th. She was heading to the movies with her boyfriend on February 22nd and was involved in an accident with a semi. And the crash occurred on her side. I made it to the scene. The boyfriend somehow remained conscious. He was able to call me. I made it to the scene before fire, paramedics, anybody, and it was a case of her being trapped in the car. Boyfriend was heavily injured as well, and so it was just a very, very
Yeah,
traumatic
yeah,
scene. And she very clearly, whenever I arrived, she was still with me at that point, but it was obvious that she had suffered some type of a brain injury. After that, she had to be cut from the vehicle, airlifted to the closest trauma center, which was over in Lakeland. And props to them. They are an amazing trauma center. They did absolutely everything that they could do for her. But she was there for 8 days and the brain just couldn't handle anymore. Her brain couldn't. So after 8 days, we lost her.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And those were hard days in the hospital. It's a hard story to share, Angie. And did you share what year that was?
That was 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that you were able to, the things that you went through, even though you may not have been a constant vocal point for my mom, especially, and including me when I lost my little sister. And you're the one person I knew my mom could relate to. And you're the one person I would constantly share Haley's experience and your experience to my mom and of course my dad. And I watched my mom go through those same
Yes.
feels, and not to bring up, but I think sometimes people need to hear how heavy it is on a parent to lose a child. I just can't even imagine. I know what it feels like to lose my sister, but at watching my parents lose my sister as a parent and watching you lose a child, I'd like to know what kind of purpose and things that have kind of come out of this and how it's affected the whole family.
It is. It's the worst. You imagine the worst thing that could ever happen to you as a parent, and that's it. You know what I mean? The only thing that could have made it worse was if it would have been all four of my children, but that's as bad as it gets. And I didn't deal with it for a long time. For a long time, I was just buried in my own pain. The pain for her, she was only 18 years old, just starting to live her life, just weeks away from graduation, all of her big plans and dreams. And I didn't handle it. I had so much anger for so long. I spent all of my time, honestly, either burying myself in work or at the cemetery. I would go to the graveside 3, 4 times a day. I would sleep out there some nights. It was just, I didn't handle it. I didn't handle it. There was a point that I probably should have been committed because I feel like I did lose my mind for a very long time. And I wish I could do that part over. I guess I did the best that I could. But I had so many other people that were hurting that were still depending on me, and
Right.
primarily my children. And I think if there's one regret that came out of that, it was that I could not do better for them and be there more for them since I have became a grandparent. And now I realize what a toll it took on my mom, my dad, my stepdad, even my poor Meemaw, which is Haley's great grandmother. Those two were very close. And I just realized there's a progression of realization whenever it comes to those things. At first, it was just all about my pain
Yeah.
because
But
that's
I
all I could see.
understand
That's
that.
all I knew. That's
Yeah,
all I
I
could
think,
focus on.
and I think that even though all of us that have been through some sort of pain like that have regrets on how we may have handled it, but that first year alone and after, of course, but is so foggy. And my
Yes.
kids were, I think, 18 and 20 at the time, and still needed me in college, trying to get to college, all this stuff. And yours were younger. And that's the one thing I remember the most. And I even got divorced 3 months into her
Yes.
death because I was not here. I was not here. I didn't get to be here. I did my very best to make sure I gave them the things they needed, but on an emotional level, I was completely checked out for at least a year, if not more. And
You
so it
say
becomes
that,
foggy.
you say that about the fog, the fogness, and that was something that I definitely experienced. I remember being graveside with the 1 year anniversary. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, this past year I have been in like such a fog. I think it's like maybe starting to lift a little bit. And then being there at year two, and I'm like, oh my God, I thought the fog was lifting at year one, and I was still like just gone. And then the same thing at year
Every
three, at
year.
year four. So it is, it's just very foggy. And as myself, I have to give myself some grace for that. And you should too, everybody should.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do the best that we can do.
Yeah.
Grief, traumatic experiences in itself are a brain injury.
Yeah.
I mean, your brain is literally injured,
Yeah,
from such a traumatic experience.
it
And
is.
we need to give ourselves grace. Okay, our mind, our body, our heart, our soul. I won't ever say that any of that all the way heals, but that's also not a down in the doldrums type thing
For
either.
sure.
It just changes. It learns how to live a new normal.
Yeah.
And that's what we had to do, myself, my whole family. We've just had to learn a new normal. And that doesn't mean that you're okay with what happened. It doesn't mean that you accept it. But I think for myself is I have accepted the pain, the pain that comes with the grief
Exactly.
of missing her. And I accept that because how could it not hurt forever? It doesn't always have to be such a heavy thing either. And for anybody that feels like that, I think I spent a lot of years not even wanting to be here any longer. And I had other kids, and thank God my boys were my saving grace because if it were not for them, I don't know what I would have done. And I realized that not everybody has the saving grace that keeps them here, that holds their hand to the here and now. And so, what I try to tell everybody is joy does come again. The joy does come. And had I left, then I wouldn't be here today to experience the joy that I have now.
And I don't know if you relate to this, but as soon as you said that, it was like two types of joy came in after some period of time. Joy does come back, but joy came back for me with guilt. I had
Yes.
to go through, am I almost felt wrong for learning
Yes.
to be happy again or to experience joy, to
Yep.
realizing like I'm allowed to experience joy. She would want you and me to experience
Yes.
joy.
Of
And
course.
someone said it, and I can't remember exactly what they said, but just the whole point of living. And both of us have gone through not wanting to live, but if we are here, then why wouldn't we live? Why wouldn't we continue to
Right.
live? And I had to go through guilt of that to get to just an acceptance of like I'm allowed to be happy sometimes in a good 5 years because it's going on 7 years for Kristen, and I think it's taken a good 5 years to let go of the guilt of not so much of moving on, but like you said, accepting
Moving
the pain for
forward.
what it is. Kristen's birthday is July 4th in a few days.
Yes,
I can
I know.
feel it. I can feel her. I can feel the heaviness. We had a hummingbird come up to us sitting on the porch yesterday, dragonfly come in between me and Chase. I haven't even seen those things in a couple months. So I'm like, all right, she's alive and well, and I'd rather her be here. So I go back and forth these many years later
Yeah.
between I just freaking miss her. I want to hear her voice. I want to touch her. I just, all those things that you desire to make the decision. We're going to go to Georgia. We're going to celebrate her birthday, but we're going to spend it with family and make the very best of it.
That's right.
Those are
And
the things that we've done to try to keep going anyways and not make it so sad. My niece Karina got married a
I
day
saw that.
after they
Congratulations.
Yeah, her angelversity. So that was kind of like throwing in something. We all talked about it, just
Yeah.
trying to throw in happy moments during those sad dates, around those sad
Yeah.
dates, trying to bring some sort of joy around it. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So tell me about the kids, because tell me about the things they went through that you had to watch them go through losing a sibling.
My Luke was only 4 years old, and so he didn't really grasp it fully, and he was just a baby. He started suffering pretty severe separation anxiety, especially whenever it came to me. And
Worried about
then,
his mama.
yeah, and then when just every time anybody would leave, they were going to die. Cody and Wyatt definitely struggled very badly. And just like us, everything suffers. Your school suffers, your friendships suffer, your mental health suffers. I think one of them retreated more inward and didn't want to talk, and the other one did want to talk. And so it was a real mess. And they still struggle. They still, over 10 years later, they still struggle with that. Just like I do. Everybody has their down days. And like you said, the guilt of joy, again, the guilt of, I remember the first time I laughed and then I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe I did that. And then, of course, cried because I felt so guilty. I think that still happens. I think that that still happens with them. It's definitely changed, I think, their relationships with everyone. And they want their sister here to see their kids. Wyatt's got the two little girls. Cody's having his first son. They want their sister here. And just like me, it just gets to the point where you just miss them. Just you with Kristen, you just miss them. And I don't want to go into too much detail on exactly what all they went through because that's their
Your
private
story.
story to tell,
Yeah,
but it was very difficult on them, on us as a family, just as a whole family, just relationships. I even think what they did afterwards, sometimes what some of it was, to, because of the pain. Some of it was trying to make her proud. Some of it was trying to do the things that she did. So,
Yes.
but
Yes.
definitely every step of the way has, altered, I think. Some of it in a good way, some of it not good, but
Yeah, and same. And I think that's most people's stories, and I think that a lot of people don't want to share about it, but there's hard times that obviously come with it on your own pain and the things that you go through. But I've shared about my children, whether it was struggling with school, going into college, struggling to
yeah, with
talk to someone that comes at the pizza man at the front door. It was like everything was just scary because you didn't know what was happening in the
yeah,
world.
yes.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you would suggest to somebody that is in pain? And what are some of the things that you did that gave you hope again or to remind you to stay?
A lot of things. I did start the just, and I think there's steps and progression to that as well. You want to honor them, you want to help yourself, you want to help others. So there's different
Yeah.
aspects to that. I did start the Hailey Thompson Memorial Scholarship at Lake Region High School. This is for a student that spent all 4 years in ROTC, the ROTC program there, as Hailey did. Shout out to Sergeant Major because he's just the absolute best. We love him. And Hailey just absolutely adored him. So that program is very close to my heart, and
Yes.
one that I still support. She did Toys for Tots with them every year. So now I carry on that tradition and collect
With the
as many brand
bikes.
new bicycles as I
Yes.
can possibly collect for Lake Region High School's Toys for Tots bike drive. And there's a competition between the high schools in Polk County. And it was said in one of the Toys for Tots meetings that Lake Region always wins because of Haley and her mom. So
Yeah.
that's cool. We do
Mm,
a random act of kindness day, and that's typically
on
on the
her
day that
Angel Versity. Yeah.
we lost
Yeah.
her. And other than that, she has her little namesakes here. Her very first niece, Tate and Ryan, after Hailey Ryan. And so everybody honors her most definitely in their own way. And so I think that was the one part of it. The second part, I went all over the place with the help and support. And I'll be quite honest with you, there's really not a lot out there,
But
which is why I think that love surrounds you and out of the darkness is so important because there's not a lot. I joined a grief group, it was like an online group. And what I discovered, I will not name the name of the group. However, there was this little mean girl click on there. And it's okay, I'm just trying to grieve my daughter, trying to connect with other parents, trying to get support. But there was a mean girl click on there. So that didn't work out. I've gone to therapy a few times and just it's very hard to find a therapist that specializes in parental grief. I could find one all day long that specializes in grief or in trauma, PTSD, all of those things. However, I could never and still haven't found one that specializes in losing your child. And that was very important to me because I've lost other family members and just I don't want to be careful how I say that. It's just not the same. And I'm not saying that one grief is any worse than the other because grief is grief and
yeah.
pain is pain.
I'm getting goosebumps. Just, I think any parent would understand exactly
Yeah, you just
what
want
you're
to
saying. Yeah.
connect with others in your shoes. And so I think that road has been awfully hard for me finding different avenues and areas of support that I needed along the way
Yeah.
because the aftermath of all of that, even though you don't want to be here, and then you get to a point where you do want to be here. And then when you're not, when it comes time for you to not be here, then you're going to be with them. But for now, I'm meant to be here and I want to be here. But the aftermath of all of that was a lot of lingering PTSD. You still have, and I think if you've ever struggled with not wanting to be here, then there's probably times that you still are kind of like, oh my God.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah. But back to it, there's just a whole aftermath when you go through the trauma, your depression, your grief, your missing them, your guilt, and it kind of waxes and wanes. Again, I said you experience joy, and then sometimes you're guilty over the joy, just like you said. But I think probably what helped me the most outside of the therapy, outside of the groups and things to that nature, is actually it was reaching out to other parents,
Yeah.
because that was paramount for me more than a grief group or a therapy
Someone
session or
who
something.
understands, has your experience, and yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Was talking, sharing with other people that have, similar experiences. They understand what it is to lose a child. And so I think that was probably more helpful for me. And it's still helpful because it's like anybody that loses their child now, someone always thinks of me. Hey, can you reach out to this person? Hey, can I give your phone number to this person? And no, I'm definitely not a therapist, but hey, mom, you're not going crazy. You're not going crazy. And so I think that within just talking with other parents that are going through the same thing, because it's not something that you ever quit going through. Just like with Kristen, you're never going to quit going through that. There's no end. And so it's a ride. But other parents going through that, I think just talking with them, sharing,
Maybe
just
you can
talking.
help me come up with some sort of workbook or workshop or book or something that is specific to parents for Love Surrounds You. Maybe we can work on something like that together.
That would be phenomenal,
Yeah.
because the resources just really aren't out there.
Yeah. And they weren't, and that's why I've loved connecting with all the different resources that we have connected with, and there are more out there. But when Kristen did pass, the only thing available that we could find as a family or anywhere other than one-on-one therapy was a support group, a local support group by
Yes.
hospice. In the
Yes.
world of suicide, it almost, because I worked in senior living so long, so did you. Hospice is one of those,
Yeah.
it sucks when you hear someone's on hospice, but at the end of the day, after you've been in senior living, it is the most beautiful opportunity to comfort someone and get to really be there as they pass.
Of
And
course. Yeah.
situations like ours, it's a immediate, unexpected tragedy just happens. There's
Yes.
no time to say goodbye. I know she spent the days in the hospital, but there was hope those days until those last
Yeah.
24 hours. So to have someone just immediately removed versus
Yes.
hospice was like this just
Didn't
the
feel right.
had no experience in losing someone traumatically versus the process of death can be beautiful. Being able to be there for somebody and all of that. But I think there is a big difference. Just like there's a difference in your tragedy as a parent versus you losing a cousin. It's going to affect you differently. I think
Right.
that it just goes down the line there.
And it
So,
does. It all affects you. It all affects
yeah.
you. I just lost my Mima not even a year ago. And, greatly affected me. But it was different. It was different. That was in order. That's the way that it is supposed to be. So,
Yeah.
and I think for grieving parents, that's one of the biggies. It's out of order. It's not supposed to be that way. But and just having the support in the community. Another thing, and it's made me think, these parents, I was just sent home from the hospital that day. Just okay, go. And it's what
Yeah.
what is this? How are we just sending people home that has just lost their child?
Resources,
Okay,
no information, no, hey, maybe you can reach out to,
no
oh, I'm gonna,
brochures, no nothing. And so that's something that I've thought about through the years too, is that I think that the hospitals, they do a wonderful job taking care of their patients, but
yeah.
the patients' families, I think sometimes is a different story. And I just think anybody, law enforcement, hospital workers, it's just like with Kristen. Okay, they're gone. Bye. Nothing. Here's some information for you. Here's some, I don't know what anybody's religion is, but maybe a list of religious leaders,
Yeah.
maybe a list
And
of
that's
therapy.
where you've got my head spinning. So I wrote that down because it's so true. And to be able to be my goal, love is I don't care about religion. I don't care about color. I don't care about age. I don't care if you're rich, if you're poor. At the end of the day, love is love. And so if we can create something for the hospitals, and I'm seeing it even with the police officers, Sheriff Grady Judd's they've got their own things for the actual officers, but the officers don't always know how to respond to tragedy family members. So if I can create some sort of brochure with a variety of resources, and that is what Love Surrounds You is all about, is a variety of resources. So maybe a resource is church, but maybe a resource is one-on-one therapy. Maybe a resource is you haven't taken care of yourself for 3 months and can't afford because you've not been able to work and get your hair cut and your nails done. We're going to
Yes.
help you do that because
Yes.
we want to make you feel better. And sometimes it's just those little tiny things. Having resources as a massage or just anything that makes people feel better and get connected. But most of all, have some sort of group or connection to go to where it's not just random people. So I'm going to be working on some of those
Absolutely.
things because I think
Yeah.
that is important. And I didn't have the opportunity or not opportunity to go through that with Kristen. So we didn't have any hospital experience. So I've never heard that, but it makes perfect sense. I didn't even know they didn't offer anything.
Yeah.
So
Nothing. Nothing. It's
yeah, and I
just
imagine more hospitals are probably the same way. So I'm gonna add
maybe,
that
you
to
know,
my
maybe.
contacts list.
Yeah, when I've thought about doing that for forever now, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? But it's just one of those things. You
yeah,
work on other things. I'm a full-time gaga now,
yeah,
so I'm kind of limited on time with
yeah,
them, but I do think that is a very important
yeah.
piece to the puzzle right out the
Oh,
gate. At least
yeah.
give someone some information for support.
Parents support. Thank you for that. I'm gonna add that to it.
I like you don't have enough going on already.
These are going to be years of building this, I think, at this point.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
very proud of you,
yeah,
very proud of you. And I just love this so much, especially knowing Kristen personally. And I'm going to cry. She was one of the people, Kristen was, that reached out to me after everything with Hailey. And she was love.
yeah,
She just was. And so she's going to have a big birthday celebration this Saturday
yeah.
because all the fireworks are for her.
Yes, you're always
And
about that.
yeah, happy birthday
Yeah,
to Kristen this weekend.
yeah. And so in the future, when you're honoring Haley for the day of her actual death, the kindness thing that you've done throughout the years, maybe we can post a flyer or something and really push that under Love Surrounds You as well, to where
Of
we can keep
course.
sharing her story and stuff too. That would be awesome.
I had actually thought about making some, I'm sorry, making some business cards with just a little photo of her on it
Yeah.
and the hashtag and loving memory of Hailey Thompson on it and just a little snippet of her story and just a pay it forward. And that just came to me here lately because I would just, for instance, be in a McDonald's drive through line and pay for the car behind me. And then I'm like, tell them in loving memory of my daughter Haley or whatever. How cool would it be to be able to hand them a little business card and then
I
they
love
hand it
that.
to the person? And then, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on.
I love that. Oh, we gotta, yeah, we definitely do that because you're also giving somebody something to think about, something other than themselves or their bad day. When we've had bad days, helping somebody else, and that is what Pay It Forward is all about, and that is what Haley was all about. And I know you, that is definitely what you're all about. So
Yeah.
always giving back, always.
Yeah, so thought that was a really cool idea. And if anybody else wants to do anything like that to honor someone, yeah, it works out really cool. Really great. It's nice to look back, take a peek at whoever you just paid for their meal or whatever, because it never fails. They put a smile. They've got such a big smile and they're waving and thanking you. And it's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, maybe we can get some stuff like that going. I'd love to be able to do that, even with the store, get some sort of personalized things like that going. Okay, can you think of anything else that you might want people to know, or anything else you've struggled with, anything hope?
I don't know. It's so hard to think about these things
And
on the spot.
I know,
We'll end our Zoom here and then I'll be like, oh my God, I should have told her this and I should have
yeah,
told her that. But I don't know. Just I guess maybe my closing thought would be stay. because you're going to miss everything that happens afterwards. Stay.
Yeah. Thank you for staying. And I know it's been hard this last, 10 plus years now. And I just sometimes I can't even believe it's been that for any of us. But I want to just thank you for staying and thank you for showing me and showing others that even though through pain and loss and not working and then not working and just everything that we all go through, that there is joy and that we can have joy with our grandkids. And I've considered that the times where I thought I don't want to be here anymore. My kids have always been that motivation, but now it's grown into I do want to see my grandkids. I do want to experience grandkids. So thank you for inspiring that because you're a beautiful example. What is it? The beautiful disaster. It's like a beautiful, messy
Yes.
disaster example that
Yes.
is just gonna help so many other people.
Yes. And you too. You were paramount in those early days with everything that you did for my family and I. And you did and always have gone above and beyond for us. And you were wrangling mastiff puppies and, just
Yeah,
absolutely everything. So I can't imagine that was fun because you did it. You just jumped right in there for my family and I. And I loved you before, but you just have your special place in my heart,
same.
forever for your big heart, your beautiful heart. So thank you.
I love you. I love you
I
very
love you.
much. I'm gonna stop this.